How is everybody doing? It is your host, Christopher Renne here from Pints at the Round Table and the Chris Renne Show. Just wanted to remind you guys to rate and subscribe to the show before you start listening to this episode of the Chris Renne Show. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter at mbasementprod. Thank you, and hopefully you enjoy the episode. Welcome in, everybody. I am back and ready to roll. Yeah, I'm here. It's your host, Christopher Renne here. This is the Chris Renne Show episode. Let's actually take a look. It's been a while. Podcast app, Apple Podcasts, episode 43 of the Chris Renne Show. We're getting close to that bicentennial mark, that 50 mark, so that's exciting. I should be getting more consistent now that I have my summer goals and stuff planned out. I just want everyone to know that the YouTube process is going well. Starting to get some ideas on how we can make some video projects. I've got one for Pints at the Round Table coming. It's going to be a beer testing and tasting Pints at the Round Table show where we're going to get special beers and a bunch of different types of beers from different breweries. We're going to film ourselves tasting them, testing them out, giving our reviews on the beers we've chosen from the breweries, and it'll be a nice little fun way to integrate more beer drinking into the Pints at the Round Table brand. Moving forward, I've also got Chris R. Rates and Ranks coming, so that should be a fun one where I'm going to do videos ranking things from beer to food to movies and that type of stuff. And then, obviously, we're going to end up videoing our podcast come this fall. So, expect in August or September to get your first The Chris Renne Show video project and the first Pints at the Round Table episode video taped and recorded. So, that should be a fun little project to do. The last thing is we're going to be talking about One for the Ages and those episodes. I've been steadily working on that and planning out episodes as I plan on releasing one in that June 15th range. So get excited for that. That's going to be strictly YouTube, strictly video project. It's going to be the first real, full, in-depth video project Mom's Basement has endeavored into. So I'm excited to bring that to you guys. So although show episodes have not been made these last couple weeks, partially due to my college finals and partially due to me planning out the next steps for what we're planning to do. Look forward to some Pints at the Round Table this summer and the Chris Renne Show. And obviously these new ones I've told you about. So I'm excited to bring those to you. I'm excited to get going. So let's get into episode 43 of the Chris Renne Show. What's been going on in the sports world lately? Alright, I'll probably be a little rusty on this show, but we're going to have a lot of fun together, I'm right. And with missing a lot in the sports world, we've got a lot to catch up on. I don't plan on talking about the NFL draft because I feel like all that talking's been done. Just got off watching the Ajax versus Tottenham semifinal in the Champions League. Very intense, very awesome sporting moment. Soccer's been actually pretty crazy. I think a lot of people should engage in watching that sport more. A lot of history there. It's a lot of fun to watch. But since no one does, I'm not going to be talking about that. And I'm going to be talking about some of the biggest NBA playoff stories. I want to start with one that's really been irking me. The NBA playoffs have been good so far. If we go through the first two rounds, there was probably one or two good first round series, but it's really picked up in this second round of the playoffs. In the first round, you had the Clippers-Warriors, a lot of drama. Lou Williams showing how good of a basketball player he actually is. The Warriors kind of showing some weaknesses. Patrick Beverley showing how easy it is to get under the Warriors' skin. Great, awesome, fun to watch. Showed the Warriors' suit of armor is not invincible and shows they are beatable, which Houston has done this series as well. It's 2-2. Every game has been interesting. There's been something going on in every game that's caught the attention of people. Kevin Durant's been having one of the best playoffs from an individual standpoint that we've seen. Kawhi Leonard's doing that as well on the other side in the Eastern Conference. The Nuggets are showing that they're a young team, but they're ready for the big moment. When they beat the Spurs in the first round, the Blazers embarrassed the Thunder. And that's going to get me into my first topic from the NBA playoff stories. Since I've missed a couple, I'm going to give you some quick takes on some of the past ones. And there's only one that truly caught my interest in the first round of the playoffs. And I know I'm going back in time quite a bit now. But I don't think I got my fair opportunity to talk about Russell Westbrook in the first round. Looking at Basketball Reference, he was not great. What the hell is this? That's weird. Okay. Well, I need to get to Google because my computer is doing something weird. We'll fix that after. Welcome to the show as technological issues are coming into fruition as usual because I'm not really a tech guy. Russell Westbrook from B-Ball Reference. Now, I've been a Russell Westbrook hater predominantly throughout his career. I don't think he's as great as a lot of people think he is. So going into his playoff stats this year, to me it was very telling of who he is as a player and as an athlete. Russell Westbrook once again sort of let down in these playoffs compared to what he was. He shot 36% from the floor, 30% from threes, which was improved in the regular season, but still not very good, or 32% from three. Was very inefficient, rebounded well for a guard, had 10 assists a game, but just totally imploded. You see the highlights of Damian Lillard hitting that one ridiculous game-winning three. You see all this happen, and you see Russell Westbrook get in his own head and get into a personal battle when the playoffs, it's a team game. And you can't have personal battles interfering with what you want to do. And when Damian Lillard would hit a three in Russell Westbrook's face, Mr. Westbrook would go down and try to answer him and match him. And that's just not the type of way you need to play in the playoffs. Each possession in playoff basketball matters more than the last. And when you're wasting possessions with a bad three, when you're not a good shooter, and you're not an efficient scorer, you need to check yourself. And Oklahoma City is a city that has a great transcendent talent in Russell Westbrook, but an even better, more efficient transcendent talent in Paul George. And that team needs to revolve around Paul George and his talents because he is extremely special. And that is something you can't discredit. And I think Russell Westbrook truly showed who he is. A stat sheet stuffer who does not shine in moments bigger than he is. And I was very disappointed in Russell Westbrook because he showed glimpses of being able to take a backseat to a truly better player in Paul George. And Paul George had a shoulder injury, so that didn't help. But the Blazers, and you could see the difference in C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard and Enes Kanter and Maurice Harkless and that team. There's not more talent on the Blazers team, but they play better as a team. And Damian Lillard is a lot more efficient than Russell Westbrook, and he fits more into what the league is today. He's a sharp-shooting three-point shooter who can create for his players and attack the rim. He's just a more well-rounded, better point guard. Now, Russell Westbrook has stuff that doesn't really show up on the stat sheet, that relentless effort, that extremely explosive athleticism he has is unheralded. But that doesn't matter as much in basketball in the playoffs because it's about team play. And you see C.J. McCollum struggled a little, but Damian Lillard still trusted his teammate. You see these role players step up. Seth Curry, Rodney Hood. They stepped up in big moments when they needed them to. And that was a huge aspect in the difference between the Thunder and the Blazers. The Blazers were a better team. That's why they advanced, and that's why they're playing an extremely awesome series against the Nuggets right now. And this forwards me into the next sort of topic I want to talk about. And this one really bothered me. The Joel Embiid topic. He goes from being the best big man of all time after one game. He plays one game, has a phenomenal game, stuffs the stat sheet, goes for like 36, like 15, 6 and 5. One of the best playoff performances of all time. But then has two of the worst performances from a superstar I've ever seen in the NBA playoffs. And that's really something you just can't have if you're going to be talking about that. And I saw Skip, I saw Shannon, I saw Chris Carter, I saw Nick Wright, I saw all the people on Fox Sports, I saw Mike Greenberg, I saw Max Kellerman, I saw Stephen A. Smith anointing this guy the next Shaq, the next Hakeem Olajuwon. And he's not. He's too inconsistent. And I tweeted yesterday, let me go find it real quick, that he is so inconsistent and not in the way he performs, even though that's kind of been the part that bothered me this week, but more so the fact that he is being heralded as one of the greatest centers of all time, but he's so overrated. So I saw a stat. He's played in 65% of the 76ers game over his 4 seasons as a 76er, and that's after missing his real rookie year. That's not something. The biggest ability is being able to play. The greatest ability is availability. And Joel Embiid doesn't have that. He's looking at a box score at the end of a game when they're down 30. That's horrible. That's not something you should be doing. And a lot of people make fun of Ben Simmons for not being able to shoot, but he knows he's not a great shooter. And Embiid can shoot, Embiid can block shots, Embiid can pass, Embiid can score at will. But the difference is, Ben Simmons, you know what you're getting every night. And it may not be something you want when he can't shoot threes and he has a ton of space to shoot all the time, and he's only really a special player in transition. But when you have Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, J.J. Redick, a bunch of guys around Ben Simmons, it creates an atmosphere where Ben Simmons can thrive. But when you have a ball-stopping player like Joel Embiid, it leads to problems. And that's been the biggest issue. You see Joel Embiid, he's there one day, he's not there the next day. He's working out in slippers. He doesn't take things serious. He's too worried about being a celebrity, and he's not ready for the moment. You look at Giannis, and Giannis doesn't try to be a celebrity, but Giannis is one of the most popular players in the league, and that's because he is about basketball and about winning. And that's the difference between the Bucks and the 76ers. If you look at the 76ers roster, they have an all-star in Jimmy Butler, a max deal player in Tobias Harris, one of the best shooters in the league in J.J. Redick, one of the best young point guards / forwards in the league in Ben Simmons, and arguably one of the most talented centers to ever grace a basketball floor. But just because you're one of the most talented does not anoint you as one of the greatest. You have to earn being the greatest. And Joel Embiid has proven time and time again that he is not ready to become one of the greatest. And it's disappointing because you really wish you could see Joel Embiid dominate every night like he's shown he can, but he just doesn't do it. And it really irked me when people were talking about him being one of the best centers of all time after one performance in the first round and one performance in the second round. He's played 11 playoff games this year, and he's played good in 2 of them. That's not great, and that's why I really needed to get this off my chest. If you guys think Joel Embiid's one of the best centers in the league, you need to look past the stat sheet and look at his inconsistencies. The next big story I want to talk about is the Warriors' golden child, Steph Curry, once again not being a great playoff basketball player. Steph Curry scored 30 points in his last game and had 8 assists. Yes, great. But that's the Russell Westbrook stat line he had. He was 8 for 22, not good. And he wasn't very good from 3. He went 4 for 14. That's not good. KD's been carrying this team as far as he could, and it's now 2-2 against the Rockets, and they are showing that they're not invincible, like I said a little earlier in this show. I'm really tired of hearing this positivity about the Warriors, and you see Steph Curry playing the way he is. Warrior fans are going to defend him, and they're going to hate on KD when he fails. But KD has been the better player since he's arrived, and he's been the more important player in big moments because Steph Curry always shrinks. These tough shots don't fall under pressure. You saw it when they lost to the Cavaliers. You see it against the Cavaliers last year and when Kevin Durant carried this team to a finals victory. I know I hate on Kevin Durant a lot, but in this case, it's hard to not see the greatness of Kevin Durant. And now I'm not going to be one of the guys who anoints him as a top 5 player of all time and anoints him as better than LeBron and anoints him as better than Kawhi, even though his numbers are starting to back these stats up this year, that he has been the best player in the league this year, and I don't think that's a question many can argue. Do I think he's a better basketball player than LeBron? Was he this year? Yes. Is he? No. Is he better than Kawhi? I think so. I think a lot of people do as well, and I know Kawhi's been dominating his side of the states when he's been playing the 76ers and the Magic, and he's been doing it at an extreme efficient clip. But if Steph Curry doesn't play well tonight, if Steph Curry loses this game to the Rockets, it's not going to bode well for his legacy. And I think he's a weird player when you think about it, because his 2 great years were phenomenal. When he won the unanimous MVP, and he won the MVP, and he had back-to-back MVPs, and they played in the title, and they lost to LeBron when he was in the 3-1. So even in his best career year, it still wasn't good enough to be arguably the greatest basketball player to ever play the game. Now, you think about it, and you look back on that series. Steph shrunk there. It took Kyrie Irving breaking his knee and Kevin Love getting his shoulder torn out the round before. And then the following year after they lost to the Cavs, getting the second best basketball player in the world to come join an already established championship contender for him to continue his meteoric rise to greatness. And there's a reason Steph is never going to be seen as a top 5, top 10 NBA player. Top 20, absolutely. He's a transcendent talent who changed the way we see basketball and play basketball. Top 15, maybe, if he continues to be great if Kevin Durant leaves. But I think his career has peaked and he's on a steady decline now. And his greatness is unquestioned, but his greatness has been increased because of Kevin Durant coming and the pressure that gets taken off him by not being able to shade defenses over to him and him being the emphasis from a defensive game plan. Kevin Durant is the emphasis of the game plan, and I think a lot of the time teams are starting to realize, you know what, you let Kevin Durant score 40 and you really guard Steph and Klay hard, they don't really have anyone else to score because Kevin Durant's not the creator that LeBron is. And that's where the difference is. LeBron can go out and get 40 every night, but he chooses not to because it's not good to win that, and he can't win that way. And when you have players like Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, it's easy to get help. And it's easy, and it makes it harder to game plan when you're guarding LeBron. So, looking at the makeup of the Warriors, they don't have the same depth that they have had the past couple of years. This is so stupid. So you look at the previous games and you look at the box score scores and the game stats. So you look at them, and Draymond Green's been playing some of his best basketball in the last 2 years. Klay Thompson's been playing the worst basketball of his career this year. Kevin Durant continues to put up absurd numbers, 12, 22, 2 for 6 from 3, 34 points. Steph, 43 minutes, 30 points, 12 of 25 shooting, 4 of 14 from 3. So I was incorrect on my stats previously. But then you look at their bench, and seeing it is sad. They played 8 players. They played Jacob Evans. Nope. They played Kevin Looney, Alfonso McKinney, and Sean Livingston. DeMarcus Cousins can't find a place on the... Oh, no, he's hurt. Duh. Andrew Bogut, a guy they brought in, can't see the floor. Jordan Bell hasn't seen the floor at all these playoffs. They can't trust Quinn Cook. They have no depth, and that's been the difference in this game against the Rockets. Clint Capella has been really good, and he can't even stay on the floor most of the game. Eric Gordon, terrible shooting night, but just as good as Klay Thompson, and that's really the matchup you need. James Harden's matched Kevin Durant every step of the way this series. Chris Paul hasn't been great, but he's figured out his role, and PJ Tucker's been a guy who's been so valuable in so many different ways. Austin Rivers has been the surprise of this series, and he's been a really good defender. Iman Shumpert's found his place on the floor, which has been a big surprise to me. They, like the Warriors, are only playing 8 guys. It's a shortened playoff rotation. There's not many people they can trust, and I think seeing Steph Curry get worn down again has happened once again, and I don't think they get torn down enough by the media when they have bad games. The players who get torn down the most when they have bad games are Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. When those 4 players in the NBA have bad games, they get ridiculed, they get skewered, and they can't have a bad game or everything's... The people who get away with having bad games, and this has bothered me so long, is Steph Curry. Every time he has a bad game, it's never that he played bad. It's that he's been injured. It's that he hurt his ankle. He dislocated his pinky. These are excuses, absolutely. But in the playoffs, you don't think everyone's not hurting. You've played 82 games. You're in the second round. These aren't excuses. They aren't, and you can't keep babying Steph Curry. He's a 30-year-old man. There's no reason to baby him. And if he doesn't show up in Game 5 tonight, there is every right for Kevin Durant to leave him. And there's every right for him to not want to carry a guy who's always gimpy, apparently, who's never healthy, and can never show up in big moments. Draymond Green can't shoot from outside. Klay Thompson's disappeared. It's been Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant's done as much as he can. So, moving forward, the Sixers have been disappointing. The ratings are up this year, surprisingly, with no LeBron. So, moving forward, what are the series so far? So in the West, you've got the Nuggets versus the Blazers. It's been awesome. You've got the Rockets versus the Warriors. And then in the East, you have the Raptors, 76ers, and the Celtics versus the Bucks. I think the Bucks are going to close it out in, 5? And I think the Raptors are also going to close it out. I think the Nuggets will close out the Blazers in the next game they play in Game 6 in Portland. But you never know because CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard are always in for an offensive explosion. When you get the Rockets versus the Warriors, I have no idea where this series is going to go because with the inconsistency of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, the Warriors have become an unpredictable team. The foul calls have been even in this series. I don't think that's been a separation between them, especially with how much James Harden relies on getting to the line. I think the Rockets, I really want them to, but I do think the Warriors are going to pull out this series. I'll be rooting for the Rockets as I've always rooted for the collapse of this Warriors dynasty, and I see it coming. I think Klay's gone. I think Kevin Durant's gone, and I don't see this Warriors dynasty making it through this year, and this is really their last shot at getting to a title. I think it's imploded on the inside. I don't think there's the trust or the will to truly have each other's backs this season for them. And if they don't lose to the Rockets, I really do think the Nuggets with Jokic have such a well-constructed roster to take on the Warriors. They're a big, strong team with a lot of athletic players on the wing. Gary Harris, Jamal Murray, Paul Millsap, Nikolai Jokic. They're a team and a roster constructed with some length that can give the Warriors a lot of challenges. I don't think the Warriors are going to have what it takes. And even if they do come back and make it to the finals, they're going to have to go up against Giannis, Antetokounmpo, or Kawhi Leonard. And I don't think after getting beat up for 4 straight series, they're going to have it in them to do it again and make it to a three-peat. And winning 3 out of 4 titles and winning 3 in 5 years is no laughing matter. It's been a phenomenal run of basketball for the Warriors, and I think it's something that needs to be respected. But with all that being said, I think it's finally the time, and I think it's going to be a Rockets versus Bucks conference finals, or a Nuggets versus Bucks conference final, or not conference final, NBA finals, and I'm really excited to see some new blood in there. I think there's a lot that can change in the NBA over the next year. You don't know what LeBron's going to get in free agency. You don't know what the Lakers are going to do moving forward. You don't know what's going to happen to the Warriors. The Rockets are getting older. They don't really have any help for James Harden or Chris Paul, and Chris Paul continues to age aggressively. You look at the Bucks, a lot of their primary help to Giannis is middle tier at best, and a lot of them couldn't be leaving in the summer. The 76ers, 2 of their predominant starters, and Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler, can leave in free agency. A lot of talk is Jimmy Butler's probably going to the Knicks with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant to form a newly anointed big 3 that would like to win a ring, obviously. You look at other teams in there in the finals. Raptors, they have no idea what Kawhi Leonard's going to do. Do they have a good chance to bring him back? Absolutely. And if this team in the 76ers gets broken up with Tobias Harris leaving and Jimmy Butler leaving, it's a very wide open for the Raptors to be a title contender again. The Celtics, if they lose Kyrie Irving, will be fine because they have one of the best coaches in the NBA in Brad Stevens. I think they have the ability to bring in another big free agent, whether that's an Anthony Davis or someone else, to fill that superstar role that you need to have to win a title. But I think from top to bottom, they have a very well-constructed roster. And I think the Celtics are here to stay for a while, regardless of if Kyrie Irving is there or not. And with all that being said, I already talked about this, but who will win the title? I think it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks. I think Giannis is the best player remaining in the playoffs that isn't named Kevin Durant. And I think the team is just more well-constructed around their best star player. The Warriors do have 4 great players, but I just don't think they have that will and testament in them to truly achieve that greatness again. I think they've fallen off too much, and it's sad to say, but I think the Warriors dynasty is crumbling, and if it isn't in the playoffs or postseason, they do win another championship, it's over this summer. So, moving forward, I want to hit on some other things. I'm going to take a quick break, but I'll be back in a second after I get some water. Thanks for listening once again. I'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Alrighty, I'm back. This is probably going to be a shorter show. I really only did want to touch on the NBA playoffs so far, but a couple things. I do want to talk about the Browns hype machine. To be honest, I love the Browns. I'm excited to see them play this year. Odell Beckham is awesome. great receiver. A lot of talent in the Browns room. They had a good draft to fill in some needs. Got some linebackers to add depth to that position. Got arguably the best cover corner in the draft to go opposite of Denzel Ward. Added some speed in the secondary with Red Wine. And it's been intriguing to watch us roll from the laughing stock in the NFL to an odds-on Super Bowl favorite. I think have the 7th best odds in the NFL. Bless me. Thank me. Welcome to being a favorite, Cleveland. In all honesty, the Super Bowl or bust mindset is great to have, but having some realistic expectations and realizing how hard a Super Bowl is to win is something that needs to be had from a fan base standpoint. So with a public service announcement, I want to come in as the most reasonable Browns fan. Baker, great last year against really bad teams. Most of his great stats came against the lower tier teams we played in the season. Against great teams, the statistics show that he wasn't anything special, and those are the teams you have to be great against to win a Super Bowl. Now, do I think Baker's better than Lamar Jackson? Yes. But the Baltimore Ravens already have a foundation set. Was there a lot of drama in Pittsburgh? Absolutely. But Mike Tomlin has proven time and time again that he's a winner as a coach and that he can get his guys going. And with getting one of the Devons as a linebacker to finally solidify the middle linebacking spot, that's been troubling since the unfortunate injury of Ryan Shazier. I think the Browns realistically are going to have some very potent challenging from the Steelers and the Ravens. Then you look at the rest of the division. The AFC West got better. I think you look at the Chargers roster, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. That's not going to be an easy task to beat, especially when you've never been there. I think the Colts are building a really solid foundation around Andrew Luck, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the league you have to watch out for. You look at the tight ends, if Marcus Mariota could finally take that leap, they're a team that could be a challenge. Jacksonville, with the signing of Nick Foles, is a pretty solid team as well. I think from top to bottom, the AFC is going to be a very tightly contested division. I think to make the playoffs this year, you're going to have to win 10 or 11 games. I think the Browns are fully capable of that, but I just want there to be reasonable expectations of growth. Baker Mayfield's going into his second season. Every quarterback seems to have some minor regressions, and that's due to a lot of things. The rigorous challenges of the NFL start hitting him in the face. Not everything's going to be easy, and there's a lot more game tape on you as a player in a pro system. The Browns also have a first-year coach in Freddie Kitchens, and so far everything he's done has been right as a head coach. I know John Dorsey's really good at accumulating talent. I know in 8 weeks, Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are going to be one of the best 1-2 punches in the NFL, but you still need to have realistic expectations, and you have to get it done on the field, is which Freddie Kitchens said, which is why I believe they're going to be able to do it. I think it's going to be the same people there in the end. I think you look at the AFC or you look at the NFC on the other side. You've got the Cowboys who are going to be a good team. You've got the Rams who are coming back. They're going to be good. Russell Wilson just got paid. He's going to be a highly motivated player in Seattle. They're going to be good again. It's hard to look at the NFL and not see a lot of talent throughout it. You look at all the teams in the AFC. You look at all the teams in the NFC. You look at the 49ers who are going to have Jimmy Garoppolo this year. You have the Saints who are going to be good again. The Falcons, the Panthers, they're all going to be really good teams. The Bears won 12 games last year. The Vikings surrounded Kirk Cousins with a better offensive line and better talent. Aaron Rodgers went 6-9-1 and had his first losing season as a starter. He's going to be motivated. The Eagles, once again, with Carson Wentz, an ultra-talented team. And if Dwayne Haskins is the answer at quarterback, the Redskins will once again be a pretty solid team. It's just not easy to win in the NFL. It's going to be a lot to watch. The Broncos got a veteran quarterback in Joe Flacco. I know he's not great, but they're going to be better. There's so much to look at. Deshaun Watson and the Texans, you go down the list of teams, and it's going to be hard to find where the Browns fit in that. And I love the Browns, and I'm excited, and I really hope they do make the playoffs and they do win. And I'm being pessimistic right now, and usually I'm a very optimistic fan. But you have to look at it with the realistic expectations. And a Super Bowl or bust mindset's great to have, but that's just going to lead to disappointment. So that is the second thing I wanted to hit on, because I know a lot of Browns fans are getting excited, and I just want to come at you and bring you down a little bit and have some realistic expectations. This is another year where we should look at it like last year, where any win above last year's total is growth. And if the Browns go 9-7 or 10-6 this year, that's phenomenal. And then that'll make them even hungrier if they miss the playoffs. And in year 3 of Baker, and in year 2 of Odell, and in year 2 of Freddie Kitchen, it will be a year of experience and growth and comfortability in the league. And you really know where you stand with everybody else. And you're going to have the name on your back, and Nick Chubb is going to continue to grow, and the defense is going to continue to get better, and Myles Garrett's going to continue to become a defensive star. But you need to have realistic expectations. I still think it's going to be very likely that the Patriots make it to the Super Bowl again. Don't know why, just have a gut feeling. The NFC East is once again going to be pretty unpredictable. I think the Eagles have a good chance of making it back to the Super Bowl. I think the Rams have another chance to be really good. I think you have to watch out for the Seahawks. The Saints are probably in their last year of Drew Brees playing at this level and having that roster constructed the way it is. Dak's going to have to prove himself. I'm so excited for the NFL to come back. This is the most excited I've been for the NFL in years. And I'm so excited for the NFL that I barely thought about college football. So today I'm going to wrap up my show pretty quickly. I talked about the NBA playoffs. I eased the expectations of the Browns. And next week I'm going to come at you with some NFL power rankings. I'm going to come at you with what to look forward to this college football season. I'm going to highlight some of the schedules, some games. I'm going to get some research done on that. And I'm going to continue talking about the NBA playoffs. And I'll keep you updated with the Lakers coaching situation. It's good to have my first show of the summer under my belt. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed my commentary on some of the NBA's current stories. I hope you guys are ready for NBA free agency, ready for the NBA finals. Tune into the Champions League finals. It's one of the greatest spectacles in sports. It's the European Super Bowl. That's fun to watch. Once again, follow us on Twitter at mbasementprod. Follow me on Twitter at Chris_Renne. Or MB Chris Renne. I keep forgetting. I made the change on both. I'm MB Chris Renne now on Twitter and Instagram. So look for me tweeting away. Thanks for listening once again. This is episode 43, and this is your host, Christopher Renne, signing out. Adios.